Okay, we're going to call to order the October 18, 2016 meeting of the Board of Selectmen. This meeting is not being videotaped nor verbally recorded. We are having notes taken of this meeting. We are having it in the Memorial Hall as opposed to our regular location.
Actually, we're just gonna let you know that we're videotaping it.
It's not an official, so.
No, I understand, but I think we're required to tell you that.
They can do that, but they have to notify.
Oh, okay,
Exactly.
that's fine.
That's all I'm doing, yeah.
More for the record, that if someone goes to look for a videotape, they don't.
Yeah,
they don't
yeah,
see
no,
it.
I just wanted, we need to notify you of that.
Okay. One agenda item is the reconsideration of the decision to conduct a special town meeting on November 15th, 2016. As the board knows, the solar array has been pulled. Their financing did not get put on, so that's not going to be on the meeting.
That I did not know.
And the planning board did not hold a meeting for the initiative petition, so that will not be on the meeting. So basically, the only issue would be the repair of the town hall. We have spoken about making other arrangements regarding that for any repairs that can be done before May town meeting. So, I mean, considering that the one agenda item, I mean, my recommendation is that we not hold it, but I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, is the planning board not holding a hearing or holding a hearing after the 15th?
They voted to not hold a hearing before this town meeting. That's all they voted. I don't know. I mean, they're required to have a meeting within 65 days of receiving it. That's their obligation. When they hold that, they have not told the board, they told the individual.
So if we postpone to a later date, would the article before, or the articles before that were brought before us still be able to be addressed at a later special town meeting?
My understanding is that the articles that were filed by the individuals could be brought up to including the May town meeting.
So if there was
They would not have to refile.
So if there was a special town meeting in the winter instead of November, would those two articles have to be re-referred to the planning board, or are they still in the domain?
They would not have to be re-referred.
Okay, so, because the reality is, you know, if there's not gonna be a hearing, as I understand it, council's not here, but I know you've talked to council, so if these articles, these two articles that have been presented to us with more than 100 signatures, if we held the town meeting on 11/15 as scheduled, those two articles could not be brought up
Correct.
because planning board has not made action.
Correct.
So there is no ability to, because it's not coming up with a planning board action, negative action that would have to be overturned and then voted on.
There was a requirement that they hold a hearing. If there's no requirement of what the vote is, there's a requirement they hold a hearing. There's no hearing, we cannot hear it.
So the articles would be on the warrant, because under the statute that governs town meetings, they would still be on the warrant, but the moderator would be precluded from, the town meeting would be precluded from taking action.
And then what I assume would happen is that then they would have to refile. They would have to get their signatures all over again for the next town meeting, because they would have been on a town meeting, even though there was no action taken. So by not having the meeting, their petitions still stay out there to put on whatever the next meeting is if they so desire.
Does the planning board still has an obligation to convene a public hearing?
Yes.
And
Within how many days?
65 days.
from
The other day.
The other-
Now, they convene it, they don't, is there a requirement by when they have to close it?
No.
So they can open it and keep continuing it. And before they, you know, after they close, they have to issue their, and it's only after they close that town meeting can take action.
Right, so the statute says that they shall issue a report within 21 days after said hearing has elapsed. So that would be after the close of the hearing.
So that, the point being that we really have no idea when They would be ready.
Well, but it doesn't state that within 21 days, that hearing, that they have to take an affirmative or a negative position. They just have to hold a hearing.
They have to hold a hearing and they have to issue a report. If they don't issue a report within 21 days of the close of their hearing, then town meeting can act on it.
So if that report, if that hearing is held within that 65-day period, let's just say it's held on day 65, and the hearing is opened, there's a discussion, and the hearing is closed without any vote being taken, affirmative, negative, or anything in between, then they have 21 days from that point to issue a report. If the report comes back and says that the planning board held a hearing, there was a discussion, there was either no vote or a vote in opposition, does that allow that article, or those articles at town meeting to be acted upon and or amended?
After 21 days following the close of the hearing, whether the planning board issues a report in the affirmative or in support, report in opposition, or no report, then town meeting can act.
But, yeah, the point is that they don't have to close it at any particular time.
Correct.
So, you know, in terms of doing anything, you're kind of at the mercy of the planning board of when they actually close
Mhm.
their hearing. So I would make a motion to cancel the November 15th special town meeting and reschedule it at an appropriate time after the planning board closes its public hearing.
So I'll second for discussion. And I welcome interest in a friendly amendment to that. And the friendly amendment is, I understand why it would be reopened at a time after the planning board has a hearing. So 65, what's the date?
December
post-
14th is the 65th day, I believe.
Okay, so December 14th is the 65th day. Now, if on the 14th they open, have a discussion, but don't close,
Right.
do they still owe us a report 21 days?
No.
It's after they close.
They could, let's take this out of this context. You go before the Board of Appeals. You have a hearing. They want to do a site visit. They continue it for a month. They want to do a second site visit. They continue it for a month. They decide they need more information. They continue it for a month. It could be 6 months out. They don't have to close until they're done with what they consider all the information they're done. So there's no date definite that anyone in this room can say that we could have it. That's why I don't know that we could.
The reason why I'm asking for the friendly amendment, because if we hold until a date to be determined post-activity, we could be sitting here waiting indefinitely.
Could, but even if we pick a date, it doesn't mean that we can act on it.
However, our charter also allows, with a certain number of signatures, any member of the public to call a special meeting, town meeting.
200 signatures.
200 signatures. So, no idea if this would be the case, but we could be holding, waiting, holding, waiting, with a special town meeting that could invariably be called, which may put us right back into the same environment, but it's not a special meeting that we can determine not to have.
No, you can have it, but the issue can't be brought forward,
I understand.
so it'll be fruitless.
It's not the road I think this town collectively wants to go down. I mean, I said before, I view this as initiative petition as the purest form of democracy. Let people have a chance to be heard. If the decision is no, then let town meeting vote no. If the planning board's decision is no, let them vote no. If the decision is yes, let them vote yes. Same thing with town meeting. I mean, we could be going down this road. I'd collect 200 signatures and I'd call a special town meeting.
See, I disagree with that. I think that, first of all, were this anything but this petition, we would not hear this in the winter. We never hear zoning articles in the winter.
Oh,
It's
I don't
not-
disagree.
It's not fair.
I don't
think
disagree.
putting this on a May town meeting would be most fair for the people in town, because that's when we hold zoning hearings in May.
I don't disagree with you, that I've said before, I don't like zoning being done in a special town meeting, but the reality is, we called for a town meeting, and 100+ individuals signed one article request and 100+ signatures for second article request. I mean, look at some of our town elections, we've been lucky if we get not much more than that per precinct, so.
Understood, but.
I get.
And that's why my motion was the way it was, because we can't, sitting here, we can't pick a date with any certainty that this petition would be heard.
And I agree with you on that, however, if we state we are going to wait until there is some determination from the planning board, we're gonna wait. And then we're gonna wait. And then we're gonna wait some more.
But you have to wait anyways. There's no, I mean, there's a, you know, reasonable futility, I understand it and I understand it. But I think in common sense, I think no one would call a town meeting in which the thing they wanna hear can't be heard.
I don't disagree with you, however,
So what difference does it make?
however, if the signatures come in requesting a special town meeting,
Correct.
we are bound by.
We will have it, and there will be nothing on it, and there will have nobody show up.
What if
We'll
an
call it,
article-
close it, and end it?
And so let me ask this question.
Mhm.
If an article is proposed not by signature request by members of the public, but by a board, is it still the same process that the planning board?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's state statute.
That's because it's a
Right.
zoning. If it were not a zoning issue or something else, it wouldn't happen, but it's a zoning issue.
So I understand your position. I guess my argument is that,
I mean, the only thing, you know, we
I
can do
was
is
saying-
keep reiterating to the planning board to hold it and close
I
it
think
and
we
make a
can do
decision.
that. I honestly would like us to set a date for a special town meeting. And then if they decide after that 65-day period and 21-day period, if they're gonna keep this open, then we can make a decision then on what we do. Maybe it's just we move till May. And we may be at the same item in May. We may be sitting in town meeting in May with the 2 articles that planning board may never hold a hearing on.
But at least we know we're having a meeting. And the problem with that is, we're now spending the town's money on something that may not happen. We're also, you know, there's people involved there. This is not just, you know, poof, these town meetings appear. There's hiring people, there's hiring checkers, there's
No,
paying
I get
people.
that. I get
There's
there's
a lot
always
of
a
money
cost
in
to
it.
town. I get that.
So just scheduling something that we don't even know will happen, I think, is irresponsible by the town. If you wait until it's heard, and you don't have it.
One, maybe compromise consideration, a middle ground consideration would be, that the board agrees to put this on the topic of a special town meeting on an agenda for either the second half of December, the second meeting in December, or sometime in January. By then, we should have some sense at least of where the planning board process is. We only need 2 weeks to call a special town meeting. And so, you know, if the planning board process wraps up in December, the board could consider it a special town meeting at that time, hold it or not. If the planning board process is still ongoing, then there's no end, there's no, as Costa said, there's no,
What is our
there's
December
no
schedule?
end in sight. It will be
So, I mean, what meeting do we have
to
post?
December 6th and 20th. So the
So the
20th
20th
would
is
be
post
after the
12th.
planning board meeting. That will allow us to look at if there are if we have other avenues to pursue the funding for this.
This,
This
i.e. the building.
Yeah. We also we'll have to double check the timing of the zoning petition. There is a 6-month window in there. Costa, Tim, I don't know if you guys know off the top of your head, I don't recall if it's from the date the planning board makes a recommendation, the date of the planning board hearing, but there's a 6 months something in there that.
I thought it was the date of the hearing, but I'd have to double check.
After that, town meeting can't act, and I may be able to find it as we're talking.
So, I mean, you know, the earliest the planning board can then have its public hearing is in December, that's the December meeting. But that's within, is it December, what's the,
So you think that day is December 14th?
14th.
So, according to you.
well, that's the second Wednesday.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so 6 months is May 14th. When's our town meeting this year?
The town.
10.
10?
All right, so
Sounds right.
it would be within
That's fine.
that,
6 months.
We barely
within
make
that,
it.
you know, time frame. You know, so I mean, you know, whether, you know, the motion is as I expressed it, or the motion is, you know, to look at this again at the December 20th meeting, to me, the end result is the same, because we're still not scheduling anything until, you know, we know what and when the planning board has.
So what we have
public hearing.
ahead of us, if we do a meeting on November 15th as scheduled, these two items can't be brought up,
Correct,
period.
period.
Which is, you know, the worst thing to do, because you have a warrant that are on the warrant, they have to be on the warrant goes to people, they come to the meeting and say, we can't talk about this.
Can't talk about it. So exactly a month after that, or a little after a month after that, is when we will know if the planning board within their 65-day period is gonna have a hearing and or close or keep open that hearing. And we can make a determination then. Should they close and report to us within 21 days, you're saying within what period of time could a special be held?
We only have to post for 2 weeks.
Well-
We know the items to date that we would place on
But,
that. And I would recommend a little longer than 2 weeks
Yes,
to
I'm
promote.
not-
Yeah,
yeah,
it
longer.
has to be posted for 2 weeks, but if you vote on a Tuesday, we can't hold it. If you vote Tuesday night, we can't hold it 2 weeks from that night.
Because there's
We
a
also have
posting.
to, we also have to get it
There's a
printed.
lag.
Printed and all of that, and I get that.
So we generally want to figure a month.
Yeah.
Not a little more.
Which would probably put us at a late January
Early January,
town meeting.
February.
So if I understand it, Costa has a motion, you have seconded and had discussion. Is there any other discussion?
Well, my discussion would be, partly as a planning board member as well, would be I can't imagine they're having this left open and not closed. I can't make any promises, but I can't,
Yeah, but we just don't know the date, that's all.
you know, and my other concern is an up or a yes or a no recommendation by the planning board. Is that the only responsibility to make, or can we make recommendations within,
The planning board?
yes?
The planning board can recommend in favor, recommend against, make no recommendation, or recommend an amendment.
That's,
But it has to be within the scope of what's written in the warrant.
And scope
And the
means.
scope is determined by the moderator on the floor. It would.
An example, we're not gonna hold you to this, if you said 75 feet is acceptable, 100 feet is. But you could, there's a variance, and I'm not gonna, don't hold me to those numbers.
No, but
I'm
I'm
saying
saying-
that there is a variance that you can modify it by.
And then what town council indicated that if we're talking about a range between 35 and 100, you can't go under 35, you can't go over 100, because otherwise
that
you
would
get outside of scope.
exclude or beyond scope.
And again, that's his interpretation of what within the scope would be. The moderator may take a different opinion of that, and ultimately it's the moderator's call as to what happens.
But the planning board, on the floor of the planning board, could within scope amend rather than an up or down.
Right, so their report could be, we recommend in favor with the following amendment.
And town meeting within scope could amend from
Correct.
whatever. So if the planning board comes back with opposition, town meeting could overturn the opposition and then
Yep.
amend to a different number, as long as it's
And
within
they would go
scope.
forward with
Right.
a negative vote by the town, by the planning board.
By
So-
default,
By
because
default.
we're.
So this isn't a case of up or down only by planning board and up or down only by town
Planning,
meeting.
planning makes a recommendation, they don't have the authority to kill it like a pocket meeting.
Any other further discussion? I'll take a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Passed unanimously. Any new business? None? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor? Aye. We stand adjourned.
Maybe you try to put that on the